Elite performance, it can look like magic, right? But it's all science. It's this incredibly fast loop of seeing something, processing it, acting on it, and timing it perfectly. Today, we're zeroing in on that final critical moment, the science of execution, that instant where a decision becomes an action.
So let me ask you, have you ever been in this spot? Picture it. You're at the plate, you see the curveball breaking perfectly, you know exactly what it is, you know you should swing, but the bat just feels like it's moving through mud. A split second too late. You saw it, you knew it, so what happened? That gap, right there, between knowing and doing, that's what we're breaking down today.
So when we talk about execution, we're not just talking about being strong or being fast. We're talking about a very specific event happening inside your brain. It's about how your brain takes a signal it's confident in and turns it into 1, a specific choice, and 2, the actual command sequence for your muscles. It is the brain's final "we're doing this" commitment.
All right, so how does that commitment even happen inside your head? This is all happening before you even twitch a muscle. Let's peel back the layers and look at what we call the neural blueprint, the process of actually selecting the action.
Okay, so think of this whole process in your brain like a command stack with 3 key players. First up, you've got your prefrontal cortex. It's the strategist, laying out the options. Swing, don't swing. Next, and this one is crucial, the basal ganglia acts as a gatekeeper. And finally, the supplementary motor area is the choreographer. It lines up the exact sequence of muscle movements to get the job done. And all of this happens in the blink of an eye.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting. That basal ganglia, its job is huge. It doesn't just open the gate and say go on the right decision. Just as important, it had to slam the gate shut and scream no-go on every other possibility. So to swing at that fastball, your brain has to actively, forcefully suppress the urge to take the pitch. Elite execution is just as much about saying no as it is about saying yes.
And here's what happens when that system has a tiny hiccup, that split second of hesitation, or when you bite on a pump fake. That's not your muscles failing you. It's not a physical weakness. It's something we call gating friction. It's a tiny, tiny delay in the brain's ability to throw open that go gate while slamming all the no-go gates shut. It's a neural traffic jam that costs you everything.
Okay, so the brain's made its pick. The go gate is open. But how in the world does that decision travel from deep inside your brain all the way to your hands in time to hit a 95-mile-per-hour fastball? Well, that's where the command chain comes in. This is the high-speed network that carries the final order from brain to body. Think of this as the body's own fiber optic network. The final command gets blasted out from the motor cortex. It zips down these things called corticospinal tracts, which are like the main cables. It activates the exact neurons it needs in your spine, and bam, the right muscle fibers are recruited to do the job. The speed and the clarity of this signal, that's what turns a great decision into a great play. Any static on this line, any delay, means a slower, weaker action, period.
But, it's not that simple. It's not just a fire in, forget command. As you're moving, your brain is constantly checking its own work, making sure the movement is smooth, it's accurate. This brings us to the live correction system. It's your brain's amazing ability to refine movement as it's happening.
You've got 3 incredible systems all working together here in real time. Proprioception, that's your body's internal GPS. It's constantly telling your brain where your arms and legs are. Then you have the cerebellum. Think of it as the ultimate error corrector, always comparing what you meant to do with what you're actually doing and making tiny adjustments. And all the while, your vestibular system is keeping your head and eyes stable so you can keep tracking the target. A clean, powerful execution is a symphony of these constant, tiny corrections.
Okay, so we've geeked out on all the neuroscience, but what does this actually look like on the field? How does it connect to what we can see and, more importantly, what we can measure? This is the performance link.
This is what it looks like when things go wrong. These are the symptoms. That slow trigger, even on the right read, that's gating friction. That false step, that's your brain picking the wrong motor program. Sloppy mechanics when the pressure is on, that's your live correction system getting totally overwhelmed. You see, these aren't just random mistakes. They are symptoms of specific breakdowns in the brain's execution pathway.
So from that go/no-go decision in the brain, to the signal firing down your spine, to all those little micro-corrections happening mid-swing, this entire lightning-fast complex process, it all boils down to one simple concept: execution efficiency.
And here's the best part. If you can define something, you can measure it. And that's exactly what the AQE score is. It's a hard number, It's a precise metric that quantifies how well an athlete converts information into a correct motor decision, especially when it matters most. It turns that abstract feeling into concrete data.
And this is the part that should get every athlete excited. Execution efficiency isn't some fixed trait you're born with. It is absolutely a trainable skill. We can measure an athlete's AQE score, we can pinpoint the bottlenecks, whether it's gating, signaling, or correcting, and we can train those specific neural pathways to make them better. That change you see on the screen, that's real, tangible improvement.
Look, that jump in a score might not seem like a huge number on paper, but in the game, it's everything. It is the difference between a game-winning hit and a strikeout, between a sack and a touchdown. At the highest levels of sport, it all comes down to the tiniest of margins. Milliseconds matter.
So, I want to leave you with this question to think about. In that whole complex chain, from the neural blueprint to the command signal to the live correction, where in your game, in your execution, are you leaving performance on the table? Where are you losing your milliseconds?
Because look, finding out where you're losing those milliseconds, that's the very first step to gaining that crucial edge. The science is clear. It's not just about training harder anymore. It's about training smarter, right down to the level of your neurons.